Hey there, Morbid Maniacs! It's time for another spooky video. And for tonight's spooky video, I'm going to be talking to you guys all about a spooky paranormal game. As you guys probably seen in my last recent paranormal experience video, I had a bad experience with a paranormal game which I played, and I'm kind of afraid to play certain ones. Like, I'll make the exception for certain games that I have already played and nothing happened with, but like certain ones I'm just going to be careful and I'm going to pick and choose which ones that I think might be a little bit more, risky and not play those ones. However, today we're just going to be talking about this game. I'm not actually going to be playing it because it does require you to, I think, be in a library, and it's called the Librarian Ritual. So it says, the librarian is the term given to an entity which appears under a very strict and specific set of rules. No one knows exactly what it is or why it appears under the conditions it does. However, I do know one thing for certain. It has a higher chance of appearing in a library. If you ever decide to attempt this ritual, not recommended, be sure to properly follow the rules. Failing to do so will enrage the librarian, and you can be certain that the results will not be pleasant. So you will need 13 candles, a book which centers around some ideology, I can't pronounce that word, that's so embarrassing, which led to the death of people. This could be the idea from a religion's holy book to anything else. It must, however, be the cause for a killing or mass killing of historical significance. If not, then at the very least, the ritual won't work. At worst, it will be seen as an insult to the librarian. You will need a quill. It can be from any bird as long as it's a feather that you can write with. Drops of your own blood. Now this is why this is a big red flag to me, and I'm just saying, like, if you want to play this game, more power to you. Like, that's your decision. You play this game at your own risk. But anything that involves me putting droplets of my own blood onto something, that's just a big red flag for me, because to me that sounds like you're performing like an actual ritual, but you don't really know what you're summoning, and you can summon something that's very like negative or bad. And you guys know with my last experience, I try to steer clear of this sort of thing. But it says you need drops of your own blood, enough to write with and to draw a circle. You will need a small desk or table, a sharp knife good enough to pierce through the book, matches, a handgun with 2 or more rounds of ammunition. If you're with people, then they must individually see to the requirements for themselves. Keep in mind that this ritual can be done in any space from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. It hasn't been observed to happen at any other time. If you choose to carry this out, then it is advised that you do it with a group of people for safety reasons. Find a spacious area with many exits so that you can escape easily if anything goes wrong during the proceedings of the ritual. You will need to place the candles in a circle in the center of the room and light each one with a 6-second delay after lighting the last one. Position the desk or table in the center of the circle. Place your book of choice on the desk or table. Take a quill and draw a large circle with your blood on the first page of the book. Write your name or names clearly within the circle of blood. This is where you must ask boldly, what is the most powerful weapon? Knowledge will be heard echoing through the halls, room, or space depending on where you are. It is believed that this is the librarian's answer to your question. Stab the book where you drew the circle. Ensure that your names are touched by the incision. You will not be able to see the librarian, but you will feel the cold pressure of its presence. You may see a shadow from the corner of your eye. There is no need to look, because if the librarian has appeared, then it has already deemed you're worthy. You'll only ever truly see the librarian if it wants to attack you. After feeling the presence, extinguish all of the candles and burn all of the materials that you used, including the desk and the book, for they are now cursed. As a result of the ritual, you will have an enhanced mental capacity beyond most. You'll be on par with the most blessed and sharpest minds. The catch is, by doing this ritual, you have signed a blood contract with the librarian. You will feel its presence wherever you go. On hot summer days, you will cast 2 shadows, and on long winter nights it will loom over you, unseen but present. Other people will not notice this, and you will likely be driven insane by it. This will apply to all the participants of the ritual. Remember, you must never contact each other after performing it. It says, oh, and you must have guessed by now that the handgun is used only if something goes wrong. If the librarian decides to attack you, then by all means do not hesitate to shoot it. Here is where my mind goes though. If it is a paranormal entity or a demon, a physical gun and a bullet is not going to kill this thing. It's still gonna, like, its presence is still going to be there. A gun's not going to stop it. If a single round has no effect, then the rest of the rounds are for you. For death is preferable to what it does to its victims. That's really fucked up. And it says, as many of you may already know, blood in a ritual can be used as a binding contract, which is why such rituals can be generally avoided. That's what I mean. What was the one that I did where I had to take like a drop of my blood? I think it was the Midnight Man game, and that's why I never played that game again on my channel. Like I said, do with this as you will. Like, if you decide you want to play this game, that's on you, that's your decision. I played this game and had some very bad things happen to me afterward. Anything that involves my blood or like a piece of me, like the hide and seek alone, where you're literally clipping pieces of your fingernails and binding it into the doll, like attaching your soul to the dolls. Like, no, that's just a big red flag for me. I will never touch games like that again. And just because I've learned the hard way that this stuff's real and it's not to be fucked with. I've noticed that several rituals casually throw in the use of blood without mentioning the true consequences of it. Exactly. Whether this is meant to lure in an unsuspecting individual, or if it's a result of just plain ignorance, is up for debate. I like the fact that this particular ritual clearly states the consequences of attempting it. Consequences that should be enough to discourage most in spite of the reward it promises. Regardless of whether this works or not, I wouldn't recommend trying it out. There was the rules on how to play the Librarian Ritual. I probably will skip out on this game just because it involves your blood, and I don't really do well with games like that now. Back in the day when I was younger and more gullible, I would play these games for you guys because, you know, I wanted to see if something creepy would happen. I never really fully believed that they would. Like, I thought that they were all just for fun to give you a good scare, but I was definitely wrong. This is just my warning to you guys. Like I said, do with this as you will. If you would like to play any of these paranormal games, that's on you, that's your decision, but I definitely would not recommend playing any game that involves you taking a piece of yourself and kind of like binding it to that item, like blood or fingernails or hair, anything that like comes from your physical body. I wouldn't recommend playing it just because so much stuff can go wrong, in doing that. The game Hide and Seek Alone, you literally take pieces of your fingernails, stick them inside the doll, and then pretty much bind the doll by wrapping like a string around it and tying it up. And you're kind of like connecting yourself to that doll, kind of like how someone makes a voodoo doll. Like I'm very like much into witchcraft. That's pretty much how someone makes like a voodoo doll, you know, as they tie some part of that person to a doll. And I didn't know that back then, like before I got more into witchcraft. So there's nothing wrong with witchcraft. I'm just saying that if you're not careful and you don't really know exactly what you're doing or getting yourself into, it can go wrong, you know, because like I said, you don't know what you're summoning through these sorts of things. You just have to be very careful when playing these games. Like games like Bloody Mary, I'm not like super like concerned or worried about. But however, this game does sound very scary, and if you have ever played it and had some kind of creepy experience with it, I would love to know in the comments. This stuff intrigues me. That's the reason why I make videos on it. And would you ever play this game? Please feel free to let me know, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big old thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and become a Morbid Maniac. Be sure to hit that bell notification, that way you get notified every single time I upload a new video. And if you were not aware already, I now have an OnlyFans account where I will be posting all of my sexier content. The link to that is always in the description box below in case you would like to check that out. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.